why I don't create vision boards, and what works for me instead. Since last 4 years, I have been creating vision boards, not the physical vision boards, but the digital ones. So, vision board in the form of wallpaper. So, I created this vision board for the last 4 years and it didn't work out for me. So, I stopped creating vision boards altogether. And I believe that there are many reasons for which it didn't work out for me. And today I'm going to share my thoughts on the same and what I do now instead to plan my goal. So I use a very different goal setting technique now. But before I talk about that, let me quickly tell you why vision board didn't work out for me. So the first reason why I believe that vision boards didn't work out for me is because I had too many goals on my vision board. For the first month, it felt very good and I was very motivated as a multi passionate person. But as the months passed by, the same goals started overwhelming me because I was not living in the moment and I was constantly thinking about, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that, so that I achieve the goal by the end of the year. So I found the whole process of creating the vision board very exciting. But every time I opened my laptop and I logged into my laptop, I saw that vision board and I saw that goal staring at me. And instead of, you know, it making me feel more excited, I used to feel more overwhelmed, and it didn't really help me to push further to achieve my goals. Another reason why I feel this vision board technique of goal setting didn't work out for me is because lack of personalization. All the images which I used for making my vision board were all from Pinterest or from stock images, which was not very personalized, and it didn't look like something which was, very me on the board, and I did not connect with it so much. So while creating the vision board, the all the images which I used were of the goals, that is the outcome. And so every time I logged into my laptop, I used to see the outcome, but I had no plan of how to achieve the outcome. So it was all like, okay, for the first quarter, January, February, March, I used to be excited. Okay, I'm going to do this, do that, do this. By the time I crossed June, July, and that is to hit me that, okay, now I have only 6 months left to achieve these goals. So now only 6 more months are left to make these goals which I've put up on vision board, to make them into a reality, and that is to scare me instead of making me more excited. So in the beginning of the year it was fine because I was high on motivation and I was all excited. Okay, I'm going to travel, I'm going to hit this much income level, and I'm going to create content on this platform and that platform and all of that. But I had no plan of action for the same. And the same goal pictures which used to excite me in the month of January used to scare me by the end of June, July, August. Then it became like a deadline that we I have to achieve. So I was operating out of fear, which did not help me at all. Also, the main reason why I started creating vision board is because I saw many influencers who I used to follow on the internet create them. So I was to get influenced by them and started creating my own vision board. And while creating vision board, I used to create goals as per them. So if they wanted to travel two countries, I also used to put that on my vision board. So it was not something that I actually wanted to put, but it was a case of FOMO, that I wanted to do this because they are also doing it, and I felt that if I don't do it, I will be left out. So that was the case where it came to creating my own vision board. And now that I look at it, I realize that, my goodness, that was such a act of FOMO. But you learn as you grow, and I'm glad that I have this awareness while creating my goals now, and I don't get influenced or affected by any FOMO or anything, no comparison, nothing. And it feels good, really. And all these goals which I set up were unrealistic, and they were unrealistic because they did not align to my lifestyle, or they were not in according to what I really wanted for myself for that particular year. Okay, one quick thing I learned in 2025, which I would like to share about setting realistic goals, is how do you know whether you have set a realistic goal or not? Okay, now I follow this every time I set a goal for myself. So, all you have to do is do reverse engineering. Okay, now what do I mean by reverse engineering? You trace back the goal. Okay, last year I did not understand this while setting the goal in the month of January, but I am sharing with you now because over the year I understood that how important it is to set realistic goals. I wanted to read 25 books in the year 2025. So in 2026, how would I do it realistically? Okay, to check whether this goal is realistic or not. So you have to do a simple thing. First of all, divide this goal into quarters. Okay, we have 12 months, so 4 quarters. We'll trace back and do reverse engineering. So now in order to read 25 books per year, you will have to read 25 divided by 4, that is 6.2 books per quarter. So if you have to read 6.2 books per quarter, that means in one quarter we have 3 months. So you divide 6.2 divided by 3. So that is approximately 2 books per month. Okay, now if you have to read 2 books per month, you will have to read at least one book for 15 days and the next book for the remaining 15 days of the month. Now do you get it? Now for me this was unrealistic goal because the previous year in 2024 I read only one book, and now bringing that change in my lifestyle or bringing that motivation throughout the year was not practical, because for someone who has read just one book in 2024, it's impossible to read two books per month every month for the next entire year. So now when I do any goal setting, I trace back and do the reverse engineering to see whether it is actually possible for me to make so many changes in such a short time to in order to achieve that goal. Now, if you like this process of checking whether your goal is realistic or unrealistic, do let me know in the comments. I would be very happy to know your feedback or thoughts on the same. Now, let's talk about what works for me. Okay. Now, the entire year goal planning was too far for me, and my motivation dropped by the end of quarter one or quarter two. I used to feel that, oh my god, a whole year I have to work on this whole goals that I will be only able to celebrate at the end of the year. So I don't wait for year end goal, a goal for the entire year. So now what I have changed is from 2025, instead of having all the goals and waiting for it till the end of the year, I've changed the entire strategy. Okay, so now let's talk about what works for me and things which I have experimented in 2025. So, first thing is I reduce the number of goals. So, instead of having 20 different goals, I have just 4 core goals. Okay, these 4 goals can be in any different segment. It can be health, career, relationships, or travel. So I choose 4 goals in different categories. These are the different categories which you can see on the screen, which you can explore to set your own goals. I'll also share a list of different categories which you can explore while setting your goals in the link below. So once these 4 goals are clear to me, I do quarterly goal setting. So every quarter I pick at least 2 goals, whichever 2 goals which I feel I'll be able to achieve during that quarter, and accordingly plan all the quarters of the year. And now once that is clear, I focus on only the quarterly goals for that particular quarter. Now, coming back to the previous example of reading books, last year I had this ambitious goal of reading 25 books, but this year I know that reading 25 books per the entire year is not practical for me. So, this year I chose to read 10 books. Now, 10 books per year means if you do the calculation and do reverse engineering like how I did previously, it just comes up to one book per month. And that I think is doable for me, totally doable. So if I have to read 10 books per year, what I have to do on a monthly basis is just read one book. Now I've divided further into weekly goals. Okay, if I have to read one book for a month, then every day I have to read at least little bit of the book. Okay, maybe now you can see it as a goal of reading 10 pages per day or reading one chapter for 2 days, or finishing one chapter in 2 3 days. So you can set your goals according to how you look at reading. For me, it is like reading every day, irrespective of whether it is 1 page or 10 page, because sometimes when I'm in the reading flow, I finish one chapter or sometimes two. But sometimes when I'm too tired or exhausted at the end of the day, I can finish only 1 page of reading. So this is how I set my goals now. I see this as this is more practical way of goal settings as compared to the vision board style of goal settings. And it also helps me focus more on the action part of the goal, and not just, the end part of the goal where I'm focusing on output all or throughout the year. So this reduces my anxiousness and helps me enjoy the process also while working towards achieving my goals. So yeah, this was the process which I have started following recently. I hope that you found this video helpful. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you.